To the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. So this means yesterday we were successful.
No, Prabhu, because you're changing your classroom.
That's one way of becoming successful. Where Indra didn't give an advance information how much rain he was going to pour. So that place is all wet there. So, much? So, according to our schedule, today we will be discussing Sankhya. So these Nyaya and Vaiseshika, they are always clubbed together because they have the same goal, though the process may be technically little different. They come to the conclusion that the atoms are the source from where everything comes. And the only main difference between Nyaya and Vaiseshika is that Nyaya is stressing on Praman as the process of knowledge, so much as Vaiseshika is stressing on Prameya, or the different items of knowledge. Nyaya is stressing on different ways of understanding the material world. So both have accepted this adrishta, unseen, as the ultimate controller. And there is some kind of idea of Paramatma, but this Paramatma is just taken, just like in the mathematics. In algebra, you use x to get the answer. And then once the answer is there, you throw x out. So Nyaya Vaiseshika God is nothing more than x. Whenever they need, they throw him in there and then see how everything is. And then as soon as they don't want, they take him out, throw him out. So they're both atheistic. And as we discussed before, if you classify Nyaya and Vaiseshika as two, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, each one has one system of philosophy, then you come to classify Vyasa Sutras as generally Uttamimamsa, in which you have two types of commentaries. One is Mayavad and another is Vaishnava. Another way of classifying these six is combine Nyaya and Vaiseshika together and say this is one system of philosophy. And then as the fifth system of philosophy, you take Ashtavakra and is led by Ashtavakra, many other philosophers who spoke this monistic philosophy, that make that as the fifth. That, as we saw in our first chart, the miserable knowledge of eternity. Krishna describes in the Gita, avyakta hi gatir dukkham. Dukkham is miserable. Avyakta hi. Avyakta means unmanifest. Avyakta hi gati dukkham. This means this avyakta path is dukkham hi, certainly miserable. So these are two ways of seeing the six. Anyway, whichever way we put them, except Vyasa's Brahma Sutras, which are commented by himself in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other Vaishnavacharya's commentary on the Brahma Sutras, which is the actual Uttamimamsa, complete analyzation. The rest of them are all considered as godless philosophy, because they are designed to cater to the needs of souls who are envious of Krishna in various ways. And in the meantime, Nyaya, the word Nyaya means logic, so logic is not atheistic. In the Vedas there is logic. In the Vedas there is distinction, the understanding of distinctive separateness of each items of knowledge. So Vaisheshika is there in the Veda. Every particular subject matter has its distinct reality, because we don't think that the world is illusion. Only to take one item as other item is illusion. That is Maya. Maya means to take body to be soul, or soul to be temporary. In each case it is illusion. But the world itself, or the body itself, is not Maya. Body is there, it is real. And the soul is real. The world is real. Differences are real. Vishwam Satyam. So there is no question of thinking this is illusion. The illusion is when you take one item to be other item. So this Vaisheshika is there in the Veda. You cannot take matter as soul. You cannot take soul as matter. You cannot take individual soul as super soul. You cannot take even super soul as the Supreme Lord. That means there is Bhagavan, Paramatma and Brahman. So one item should not be identified with the other item. If one does that, that is known as Maya. Ma-ya. Ma means no, and ya means that exists. Maya means that which does not exist. So, of course, logic is there in the Veda. Vaisheshika is there in the Veda. Sankhya is there in the Veda. Sankhya means, the root word is the Sankhya. Sankhya means to count. Sank means to count. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many are there? This is called Sankhya. If one counted everything together, then the whole thing is counted up. This is known as Sankhya. You have counted. So Sankhya means the philosophy of counting, or analytical study of the material existence. That is there in the Vedas. That is not atheistic. To analyze the material world and understand each thing separately and count how many is there, that is not atheistic. But the purpose of that counting should be to find out, while counting 1, 2, 3, 4, they find out the actual source, who is the Supreme Lord. 26. Alright. Now, you have done the real Sankhya. But if you count everything, and then leave God that side, just like they say, leave me alone, so leave God alone, and then you count the rest of it, that is atheistic Sankhya. The difference between God-conscious philosophy and not God-conscious philosophy, un-God-conscious philosophy is very simple. That is, one is God-conscious and other is not. One talks about God, other doesn't talk about God. Like Prabhupada gave that explanation. Krishna-conscious means to be conscious of Krishna. So God-conscious philosophy means they are conscious of God. And those who are not conscious of God, they are un-God-conscious philosophy. It's as simple as that. So we have to always keep this streamline of thought while discussing 6 philosophies. Not to just reject logic as un-God conscious, not to reject Vaisheshika system as such in the Vedas, the system of Vaisheshika as un-God conscious, but to reject the system formulated by Gautama and Kanada, an impostor Kapila, as we should know that they are not God conscious, they are atheistic. So this is very important in learning this. Otherwise we will get 2 kinds of confusions. One kind of confusion, this is according to Vaisheshika, there are 2 kinds of Brahmas. One kind of confusion is to think that all logic is un-God conscious. Another kind of confusion is, because logic is alright, so what's wrong with Gautama's logic? So these 2 kinds of confusions we can come to. So we shouldn't come to. I hope we haven't come to. we came to, then finally, on Gaur Purnima day, when Abhishek is done for Chaitanya, we should just chant very loudly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Na Chaitanyat Krishnat Paratattvam. Because see, Chaitanya is ultimate truth. So if you see camphor and milk and dahi and these creations, best creations of Krishna going on the body of Chaitanya at Gaur Purnima time, then if you just look at that and chant and dance in front of the deity, then all misconceptions will be gone. So this is with that hope, we are going through these 6 systems of philosophy. Because there's going to be Abhishek and we're going to dance. So Sankhya philosophy, the sutras are done by Kapila. There are 2 Kapilas. Many times, especially the Sankhya and Yoga have been very nicely discussed in our books with their terminologies. So these 2 systems are not very new to us. Kapila impostor was a later Kapila, and his sutras are known as Sankhya Sutra. He had a disciple also by the same name, like the original Kapila had, Asuri. So there is big confusion because both gurus had the same name and both had the disciple by the same name too. And both taught the same system of philosophy, at least by name. So there is big mix-up between Devahuti Kapila, who is the Supreme Lord, and this Rishi Kapila, Muni Kapila. Muni means one who gives a conclusion different than the previous one. Otherwise he won't be considered as Muni. Philosopher means he has to say something different from the previous one. And also he has to say something different from what he said the previous day. Otherwise he is not a philosopher. No one will accept him as a philosopher. If he said the same thing for 2 days, they will say, oh, he doesn't know. Why is he repeating the same thing? Like one press reporter was complaining, your Swamiji is always saying the same thing, I am not this body. Why doesn't he say something new? So then this was brought to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, in that day when the press conference started, Prabhupada with a serious face he said, I am not donkey. So then he said, because some people complain that I shouldn't say I am not this body, so I am saying like this. I am not donkey. So you have to say something new. If you say the same thing, then they get bored. Oh, he doesn't know. Always same thing, Hare Krishna. What is it? Why don't you say something new? Prabhupada said, they think it is too simple. I tell them, yes, all that you have to do is chant Hare Krishna. And they think, oh, only that much? He said, that's all. So this is not a philosopher. Philosopher means he has to say one thing at a time, another thing at another time. Krishna means black. Black means nothing. Nothing means everything. Everything means something. You just think. If you go on like this, then you're a philosopher. Then you're Gyan. But if you said anything meaningful, which is digestible, then you're no philosopher. So these munis, each one is different from the other, and they purposefully make it different. If you don't make it different, then you won't be accepted as scholar. So this impostor Kapila, of course, we have to understand one thing. They all heard the Veda from as Brahma heard it from Krishna, and Brahma spoke the Veda. And all these different founders, they have heard it from him. But the way they digested was one decided atom is the source, another decided material nature is the source. Because it's Krishna's arrangement for engaging people who have nothing to do. So this is the beauty of the Vedic philosophy system. That everyone gets this engagement, everyone gets what he wants, everyone is satisfied, but everybody is here. No one goes back. This is the great system of Veda. How to keep the world going. Keep the world going. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Go. Round and round, round and round, round and round. So this is the beauty of Vedic system. Silver chain and gold chain. So Asuri was a disciple of Kapila, and the Devahuti Kapila also had a disciple by name Asuri. And due to this reason, there is big confusion, and Mayavadis, they try to blaspheme the original Kapila by saying that he spoke atheistic philosophy. But in the Upanishads it is very clear. Lord Kapila's name is mentioned in many Upanishads, especially Svetasvatara Upanishad very clearly says that Kapila, who is the beginning of everything, by whom everything is sustained, and in whom everything enters, who spoke the philosophy of devotional Sankhya, to him I pay my obeisances. Veda Purusha pays his obeisances to Kapila. In the meantime, in the same Upanishad there is mentioning that Kapila who misdirected the minds of people by establishing that material nature is the source, he should not be entertained in one's consciousness. So both Kapilas are mentioned very clearly. Then some people would say that, well, you Hindus, you Indians, you always say Upanishad, but how some Upanishad can say all that? It's too far-fetched truth. We can't accept. Then Max Muller will give his footnote. This is Indian primitive way of thinking. Anytime they find somebody good, immediately they make him avatar. This is their avatar conception, which is actually taken from the Christianity. And then he would give his footnote like that. But all that you have to do when you buy these books, you have a cutting machine and you cut the bottom of the book. Then everything is alright. Okay, as soon as you don't read these footnotes, subject matter is quite good, you can digest. As long as they don't put their foot on the note, there is no problem. So Ishvara Krishna was a disciple in the line of Sankhya, in the line of Kapila, and he wrote the commentary, which is known as Sankhya Karikavali. Sankhya Karika. This is the Bhashya, to understand this philosophy. So, in Sankhya philosophy, they accept two kinds of reality. One is Prakriti, another is Purusha. When we say Purusha here, according to Kapila, we shouldn't come to the conclusion, he says Purusha, so that means he knows God. But the Purusha he is mentioning is not God. The Purusha that Sankhya is mentioning is the soul, is Jiva. Because Purusha, Bhagavad Gita also uses the word Purusha for the living entity. Purusha Prakriti, Bhagavad Gita says. So, Purusha means the person who is the controller or who is guiding the Prakriti. This is known as Purusha. But then there are two Purushas. One is the Purusha who is bound by the Prakriti, and another is the Purusha who is controlling the Prakriti. There are two kinds of Purusha. Uttamas Purushastu Anya, 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita says, Uttama Purusha. The another one is Tama Purusha. Tama means darkness. Uttama means above darkness. So Krishna is Uttama Purusha. Paramatmeti Udahrita, that is Uttama Purusha. Whereas the other Purusha, like ourselves, we are all soul, we are also Purusha, but we are under the control of the material nature, at least in our false identification. And the original Purusha never has any false identification. That is why it is known as Achyuta. Also Sri Krishna confirms, Pratitha Purushottama, Atosmi Loke Cha Vede Cha, Pratitha Purushottama. That is why in the Vedas, and also among all the living beings, I am considered as the Purusha Uttama. Uttama means above darkness. Uttama Purusha. The whole chapter is named as Purushottama Vibhaga Yoga. Purusha Uttama. And we are Adhama Purusha. We are just below the level of darkness. Just like they call some countries below poverty line. So the living entity is below poverty line. And the Supreme Lord is full of 6 Aishwaryas. He is above poverty line. So we shouldn't consider America equal to some third world country as far as material conception is there. Because America is rich and this is below poverty. So same way, no foolish man will think, yes, so America and this country is same. Because in America you put the switch on and the light comes up. Here you put the switch on and the light goes out. so there is some difference. Of course, it may be only externally, whatever it is, but still difference is there. One gives light, one doesn't give light. One place machine works, other place machine doesn't work. One place road is straight, another place is like this. So there is difference. So by country they are both same, because it's a country, this is a country. So Krishna is a Purusha, we are Purusha, so they are same. But that Purusha has good highways and this Purusha has potholes. So this Purusha should be considered as Tama Purusha and that one considered as Uttama Purusha. So Purusha and Prakriti, these two are the great subject matters in Sankhya. And in philosophical terminology, Sankhya is known as Satkaryavada. We have discussed before the Nyaya and Vaiseshika, they are known as Asatkaryavada or Arambhavada. Arambhavada means there is a beginning for everything. And because there is a beginning, then everything has an end too. This is Arambhavada. But Satkaryavada means there is no beginning, but there is some transformation. There is some eternal thing, and that gets a transformation. This is also known as Parinama. Transformation means Parinama. Something is there, and from that something transforms from it, then becomes something else. The other one is that there is some atoms, and then from there everything just starts. So there is a starting point. Arambha means to start. So that is known as Arambhavada. This is why there is a lot of similarity between Buddhism and these Nyaya Vaiseshika philosophies. You heard this in Prabhu Sriman Hari Bhakti Vilas, Hari Vilas Prabhu, sorry. He gave this class with the 6 systems of philosophy, then he gave that comparison. Nyaya Vaiseshika and Buddhism, they have this similar Arambhavad. They also start from some point, and then they bring everything to that point, and everything goes finish. So this is known as Arambhavada. And the Sankhya philosophy is known as Satkriya. Satkriya means that everything has its position even before it came into manifestation. So this is a great difference between Nyaya Vaiseshika and Sankhya. Now the whole thing turns into a different direction now. This is actually an evolution, as we discussed on the introductory class. That Nyaya is there, then Vaiseshika is there, then it's coming to next level now. This next level takes a big turn. What is that turn? That turn is that it is not atom. This much we have advanced now. It is not atom. It's something else. So how that they go about it, it's very interesting. Satkaryavada of Sankhya is like this. They say that the effect and the cause, they are not different. Or the effect is there in the cause. This is the exact crux of when you say Satkriya, that means that the effect is there in the cause. If the effect was not in the cause, then it won't come about. How it will come? So that is their argument. So then no amount of effort on the part of any agent to bring it into existence. Suppose some agent is there, say for example, this is the example Kapila gives, Impostor Kapila gives. There is a seed, like mustard, and you want to make oil from that. So you crush the seed, then oil comes out. If the oil was not in mustard, no matter who crushes it, whether it is Bruce Lee or King Kong, no oil will come. It is not because of the crushing that oil is coming. It is not because of the man who crushes oil is coming. It is not because he crushed it at daytime the oil is coming. It is not because he paid the festival fees so oil is coming. No. Oil is coming because oil is in mustard. That is why it is coming. So the cause is mustard and the result is oil. The effect is oil. So the effect must have been in the cause already, in unmanifested stage. This is the whole big advancement from Nyaya Vaiseshika to Sankhya philosophy. Material cause can produce only that effect with which it is already there. Hence the effect must exist in the cause before production. That is very simple. Just like the mustard and the oil example. Then only certain effects are produced by certain causes. Just like if you want to make curd, the curd is an effect. and the cause is milk. You can make yogurt only from milk. But in Calcutta, they will make it from anything. So Sankhya philosophy will be completely defeated in Calcutta city. You may buy some yogurt, and this yogurt will have no milk in it. It has nothing to do with milk or cow. It came from West Bengal government. What is this West Bengal government? It's a different kind of speech. It is not one of the 84 lakhs. So this new system of philosophy has not been produced yet. Only Calcutta has this philosophy. You get milk, it is not milk. You get water, it is not water. You reserve your ticket, but your seat is not in the train. This you all will experience. If you come through Calcutta many times, you will experience all. Everything is 90, 90, 90. Not this, not that. And keep going. Anyway, only a potent cause produces effect. So potentially the effect is in the cause. Just like if all the seeds that you throw in the land, they don't produce the plant. Only those seeds which are potent, they produce the plant. So one may say that seed is the cause and plant is the effect. We say no. Why we say no? Only a potent seed is the cause and the plant is the effect. So potentially the plant is inside the seed. If the seed was not having the plant, then the plant won't come. And that is why some seeds, they don't produce plant. This is a nice argument. If it is raining outside and you have nothing else to do, then you can sit down and go on thinking like this. If effect is not in the cause, then when it is produced, non-existence comes to existence. Now it goes very logical. He says if the oil was not in the mustard, then what happens? You crush the mustard and oil came. So non-existing oil has come into existence. A thing which does not exist cannot exist. So due to this, you must conclude that oil was in the mustard. This is called tarka, logic. This may not be very impressive to people, but this impresses certain people. Non-existence is becoming existence, so it is wrong because of this. This is known as Hetu Abhasha in Nyaya. Hetu Abhasha. The cause or the particular subject you are discussing, you just use the Abhasha of it. You say that, say for example, I say I have one student. Then I say, this student is not having horns. Because he is not having horns, there is no question of calling him a horse. Actually speaking, a horse also doesn't have any horns. So this is Hetu Abhasha way of discussing. You prove something is wrong by giving some other example which is also wrong. So this idea of just by saying that mustard is having oil and otherwise when mustard is crushed, oil is coming, so non-existence has come to existence, is a very stupid way of argument. Because there are many things when you produce an effect from the cause is coming, but that may not be that cause was actually existing, the effect was actually existing in the cause. For example, this is how Shankara defeats this philosophy. A thread and cloth. Now cloth is, when you weave the thread together, then it becomes cloth. So cloth is an effect and thread is the cause. But if I give you 2 kilos of thread and I say, by logic, cloth is in here, so you wear it. You can't just, tie the thread around and say, by logic I am wearing a night shirt. It just becomes impractical because what is the use? Thread cannot serve the purpose of cloth. Or I can say, pot is effect and clay is the cause. So you want some water, so I give you this much clay. Then you bring water in it. You cannot do it. So for the purpose of it, ultimately the purpose would also serve. It is not simply the meaning of the word that is giving you the utility. The meaning of the word may be clay is pot, pot is clay. But pot can carry some water, the clay doesn't carry water. So if you want to drink some water, it has to be in the form of a pot. So these are two different things. This is how the Sankhya's cause and effect theory is defeated. Anyway, if one simply establishes ultimate cause, whose energies get transformed into the effect, which is the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then somebody will say, why his philosophy? Who is he? Yes, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. He is God, so he knows what he is talking about. And no one else can know as much as him because he is the Supreme Ishvara. So he very clearly establishes this idea, which is there in the Veda and Upanishad, that Krishna is the cause of all causes and he has unlimited energies. And these energies are there in the cause. In this way, Sankhya is okay. And when that energy comes out and transforms into this multi-world, this creation, it does not affect the cause at all. And that real cause, who is Krishna, is not only the cause of this effect, but also the supreme intelligence itself. Param Satyam Dhimahi is the supreme intelligence himself. So with this way, when you perform Sankhya philosophy, then automatically the atheistic Sankhya disappears. And that is how Devahuti Kapila explained the source of everything to his mother Devahuti. The best book for understanding both Sankhyas is Teachings of Lord Kapila. In the history of Sankhya discussion, there is no book which can be put in the same level as Teachings of Lord Kapila by Srila Prabhupada. And that is the contention of people in India who are the best Sankhya philosophers. They consider this book to be the topmost. And the way that is explained in this book to be the topmost explanation of Sankhya, of both Sankhyas. So much so that if you study Ishvara Krishna's commentary on Sankhya Sutras, you don't understand the impostor Kapila's Sankhya as much as if you will read Teachings of Lord Kapila book, you will understand. I was a big Sankhya student before, and I didn't know whether front hair I should pluck or back hair I should pluck when you go mad. I had no idea which one. That was the only doubt I had finally. Either this way or that way. But while hearing the Teachings of Lord Kapila classes in our society, then everything got together and the screws were tight. Then I didn't go insane. So please read this book, Teachings of Lord Kapila, not once, 100 times, if possible 108 times. And when you finish, you start again. Because there is unlimited light on Sankhya philosophy in this book. And there is a difference between reading that part of Srimad Bhagavatam purport and these Teachings of Lord Kapila. In the Bhagavatam purport, Srila Prabhupada discussed in one particular way. But when he gave these lectures on these verses, which was printed separately as Teachings of Lord Kapila, much more explanations came out. So one should read in the Srimad Bhagavatam Kapila's instructions to Devahuti together with Teachings of Lord Kapila. And finally, one should just completely absorb in Teachings of Lord Kapila, this book. Then you become an expert Sankhya. And there is nothing you do not know about both Sankhyas. And it is very easy for you to defeat the atheistic Sankhya philosophers from this book. And if he doesn't accept, then this book is also coming hardbound, I heard. So you just take that and you know what to do. So, it's an SOS to the atheistic Sankhya. BBT is making hardbound books too. So, I think now we should go into the philosophy of the Sankhya instead of going through too many details. Another main point they have is there are only three different experiences in this world. That is, one is pleasure, another is pain, and another is neutral, indifference. So, they will never accept any particular thing as having a particular, say, result. Just like if I say Rasagulla is sweet, the Sankhya will say no, it is not. Then you say, why not? Rasagulla is sweet. He would say, no. It is sweet for a person who is healthy. It is not sweet for a person who has jaundice. And it is neutral for a person who doesn't know what is Rasagulla. And he is speaking truth. That is true. When you have jaundice, you can't eat sweet. It tastes even bitter sometimes. But when you have health, you eat Rasagulla. It tastes very nice. And if you don't know what Rasagulla is, somebody comes from some place that he doesn't know what Rasagulla is. And you tell him, you go there and there are some cotton webs. You please take them and wipe on the blackboard. And you keep a part of Rasagulla. He will do that. He doesn't know. He goes there, takes it and wipes the blackboard. Only we know when the juice comes out. Hey, what is this? Why is cotton crying? Otherwise he doesn't know. So it is true that there are three kinds of experiences. But still, my dear sir, Rasagulla is sweet. You may experience pleasure, somebody may experience pain, and somebody may be neutral, but Rasagulla has its inherent quality that it is made of milk with sugar, so it is sweet. That you cannot deny. But Sankhya will not accept. He would say, why some dancer is dancing? So for a scientist, it's simply molecules moving. And for an artist, it's a wonderful performance. Ah, great, and he's clapping his hands. And for a Shankarite, it's Maya. Doesn't exist. She didn't dance. I didn't see. So that is his philosophy. Because it's all Brahman. Brahman Satya, Jagat Mithya. Dance Mithya, Brahman Satya. So this may be true. But the point is that that particular person who was moving hands and legs and jumping up and down on the stage at least thought that it was dance. Though it was horrible for the audience, but at least he was thinking that I am dancing. So that you cannot separate from it. So this is another great flaw of Sankhya understanding. And then they also classify everything by these three modes, Sattva, Raja and Tamas. Because they understand that everything comes from Prakriti, and Prakriti has got these three great fevers, mode of goodness, mode of passion and mode of ignorance. So everything is classified according to that. And Rajas is actually the energy giving mode. And Sattva is doing everything creative, and Tamas is doing everything destructive. And in between is this United States of America. Just imagine, Pakistan this side, India that side. One is doing all creative thing, one is doing all destructive thing. And in between is USA, giving them both arms. Oh, you want plane here, you want plane. Oh, you want jet, you want jet. This way, just going on giving. This is how Mr. Passion works. Mr. Passion has no interest. He's actually interested in peace. That's why he's making all the bombs. He's very much interested in Shanti. But he's making these bombs because India and Pakistan, they want to fight. So what can he do? He has to help people. So he's making it and giving to them so that they can fight and go to hell. So it's exactly like that. The mode of goodness is creative and the mode of ignorance is destructive. And mode of passion is neutral. It's simply helping both modes so that they can carry on this world. So their parinama or the transformation of Sankhya is technically known as Swarupa Parinama or constitutional transformation. And Mayavadis, they have this Brahma Parinama philosophy that Brahman has transformed into everything. And we have the Shakti Parinama philosophy where Krishna's energies, they are transforming into different creation. Because we are all called Parinamvad. Sometime when you hear a philosopher speaking who knows the subject, he would just try to lump everyone into one classification. Oh, Gaudiya Vaishnava, Sankhya, and such and such Vakra, they are all Parinamvad. Whereas we understand it very nicely. But then he is lumping everyone together. It's like the knee is round and there is hair on it. And the head is round and there is hair on it. So the head and knee, they are same. But they are not same because head has brain inside and the knee doesn't have. So when Gaudiya Vaishnavas speak about Parinamvad, they have some brain. And when the Shankarites speak of Parinamvad, there is no brain. Or when these Shankyites speak of Parinamvad, there is no brain. There is not even head. What to speak about brain? So these all parinamas are not same. One parinama is telling that the material nature transforms into this, with no reference to God. It is atheistic. Then another parinam says that God himself transformed into this world. This is also atheism, because then you are imposing change on God, whereas God is changeless. And just to create this world, God has to change. What kind of God is he? That is also brainless philosophy. But when we say parasya shaktir vividaiva sruyate swabhaviki jnana balakriya cha, that there is unlimited energies in the Supreme Lord, and these energies simply by his sweet will, sankalpa matrena, they transform into this material existence. Why? To accommodate the enviousness of the living entities. So there is a very strong philosophical fort in Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, which even the four sampradayas do not have. If you slap on their face and ask why the living entity is here, they cannot give an answer. They don't have an answer. They go beat around the spiritual bush. When the material scientists are beating around the material bush, then these religionists, they beat around the spiritual bush. Only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has the answer. And that answer is in Srimad Bhagavatam. And only he is able to read it. Because he is Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why. Except Srimad Bhagavatam himself, no one can read the actual conclusion of Bhagavatam. At least this is the conclusion of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who is well versed in the 6 schools of philosophies. And Krishna's instructions in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam should be studied with. So while chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, if one reads Srimad Bhagavatam, then he can understand. Otherwise, each school will be just blaspheming the other school without understanding what is going on in each school. That is what Sri Chaitanya explained to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. That is what Parashananda Saraswati explained to please Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Madhya Leela, 25th chapter, there is a whole explanation. In only from verse 50 till 56, 57. 7 verses only. You understand all the 6 systems of philosophy. And in the purport, Prabhupada gives a whole comparison of each philosophy. So we should read this part of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Madhya Leela, chapter 25. Then, alright, so now the Sambandha Vidya and Prayojan of Sankhya. Material nature is the source of everything, but material nature has no intelligence. And Purusha, living entity, has intelligence, but he doesn't act. He is inactive. Why is he inactive? Why should he act? His soul, he doesn't have to act. This is the contention of Sankhya philosophy. The soul is intelligent but inactive. Material nature is active but unintelligent. But the soul and matter, by nature, they are always in proximity. So, like the blind man and the lame man. The blind man cannot see, and the lame man cannot walk. But just put these two together, then what will happen? Like Prabhupada put these two together. India is materially lame, and West is spiritually blind. So he put these two things together, and look what happened. You know what's happened. The whole world is jumping up and down, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If Srila Prabhupada was having all his purpose, and he was still living only in Radha Damodar temple, and if he would have, for some chance, by unfortunate chance, if he would have met me when I was Bhagavan myself, I would have never joined this society. I'm speaking you truth. I would not have joined this society, even if he gave me all these explanations. And I would have thought, yeah, this is one way of thinking. There is another. Anyway, there are many ways. And I would keep walking that way. But when you see these MAN buses from Germany, and they have these doors, and then you have this big Sarvasagara coming out with his passport bag on one side and the camera on the other side, with the Urdu Pundra and the Shikha. And then in front of them there is this band piper, one piper, he just goes playing his pipe. I won't mention who that is. And as soon as he goes chanting, then everybody is just jumping there behind him. Some knots. some protector. So then everybody is going behind this Nath, and this Nath is jumping up and down, and everybody is jumping up and down. If I didn't see that, today I won't be sitting here explaining to you the futility of this existential philosophy. Rather, I would have been happy with them. I would have continued. So this is the success of this movement, that the materially lame India and the spiritually blind West and an expert chemist, he comes in there and he puts it together. And then everything is just bursting. And this rocket is taking off, ISKCON rocket, towards back home, back to Godhead. This is going on.